There. Nach é agór é go bhfuil an-tóirí na tíre a chur stáitse going chun severas cultúra tíre a léirú ach iad bó beocht. Níl sé sin ceart ar chorbe. So from ancient times, us Irish have been famous for literature, storytelling, music and whatever we generally call the arts. It's a term which is used to describe a wide variety of creative work from which we all as individuals and of society benefit, and we lean on the arts so much in this country. From visual art, including painting, sculpture, film, performing arts, theatre, circus, spectacle, composition of literature and music. We all know, especially when we're as part of the world, we all know how much we rely on the arts. It's such an impact on people's lives. And I would say that nearly everyone engages with some level of art in their daily lives. And there's no accurate way to count how many people are actively involved with the arts as creators at a professional level, but we know it's a massive amount of people. What we can say with certainty, though, is that over 10,000 artists and creative workers applied for the initial pilot of the Basic Income for Arts in 2022, and that 2,000 of those artists and creative workers were selected for inclusion in the pilot. Those lucky enough to be selected received, between 2022 and 2026, received a payment of €325 a week, which was used by them to support them in a professional practice. And we're all familiar with the historic link being out between artists and poverty, and the reality of this is that it's ongoing. There's many, many artists living in poverty. And even, I suppose, even like, it's just, I think, when we rely on so much, even of the, we say the EU presidency, last Wednesday, like, it was so wonderful for us to show the world how our creative richness that we have here. But in 2025, the Arts Council produced a toolkit, Fair Pay, Fair Practice, and its purpose is admirable and it's consistent with the values that I believe in, and I worked my previous job, I worked supporting artists. The fact that the Arts Council had to produce this policy toolkit clearly demonstrates that everybody who works in the arts knows the work that the artists do and knows that they're not paid fairly for their work. And that, I suppose all the unseen hours of preparation, of research, of gathering materials, and in other professions you would get paid for that, but for some reason, the arts, it seems, creatives are seeing that should go without pay. Organisations employing artists at rates which they can never reflect the actual value of what they produce, they're not the ones to blame for this. To attribute a financial value to something upon, maybe conceptual or dependent upon is a taste, is a challenge, and I understand this as a challenge. This is why the Basic Income for Artists works. It's by it's by ensuring that artists have a basic income on which they can rely, allowing them to concentrate purely on the value of their products rather than spending so long either in other part-time work or filling out unnecessary forms and grant applications. So, and it has done that, and I suppose during the downturn we started in 2008, the consequence of which we were still living with, and an estimated 48% of artists left their practice. Imagine if this scheme was in operation since then. Like, who did we lose to the art world that we don't know about now? Who never got the chance to shine? And in fairness to Catherine Martin, you have to give her, it's great to give the respect that she deserves, because what she brought in, she deserves great respect for that. And the fact that the pilot has been extended to a full permanent scheme, which will run a 3-year cycle starting from 2026 to 2029, demonstrated the current minister's commitment to this. But what I'm asking is there any, I suppose, intention to build on it, to build it more? Because we know it works. We know how much as a country that we lean on the artistic ability. We lean on creativity so much in our country. Like, people definitely don't come here for the weather. They're coming here for our richness, for our culture and for our rich heritage. And I'm just wondering, is there any way that, we see the amount of people that applied and the amount of people that actually got it. Could we see this extended? Could we see this Basic Income for Artists extended, that we actually give the artists the commitment that they deserve and the recognition that through monetary value that they deserve?
Thanks, Senator Cosgrove, for raising this issue this morning and commencement matter on what is a really important initiative for the state and for the government, the Basic Income for the Arts, because it is a once-in-a-generation policy intervention which has the potential to transform the lives of artists, as confirmed by the research published as well during the pilot. Last year, the Department conducted a public consultation into the Basic Income for the Arts, and this consultation received over 17,000 submissions, with 97% of respondents in favour of making the scheme permanent. And this shows the value of the Basic Income for the artists, that is appreciated not only by those in the arts sector, but also by society at large. In February, the Government agreed to making the Basic Income for the Arts scheme permanent, And this is a major milestone for the arts in Ireland, and research conducted by the Department provided Government with a clear evidence base upon which to make that decision. With an allocation of €18.27 million for this year, the Department is in a position to fund 2,000 artists. At the launch of the new scheme in February of this year, Minister O'Donovan stated that over time he would like to expand the scheme beyond 2,000 artists should more funding become available in the future. So far, the successor scheme to the basic income for the artists has seen just over 10,000 applications received by the deadline of the 12th of May. Assessment of applications is ongoing and will take place over the summer, with payment to 2,000 artists beginning before the end of this year. All applicants had to complete a comprehensive survey at the time of application, and those who will receive the payment will provide data on an ongoing basis. A diversity of arts practices, ages and geographical distribution is visible in the application submitted. The data collected as part of the application is a snapshot of the sector in 2026 and will be a great resource for the Department in terms of developing future policy for the arts. A report setting out this data will be published as well in due course. Compliance with eligibility will be continuously recorded and assessed throughout the time a recipient receives the payment. All successful participants will need to register with Revenue as self-employed and pay Schedule D income tax where appropriate on basic income from the artist's payments. The goals of the scheme are to incentivise the development and growth of professional creative practice through self-employment, to counter the earnings instability and precarious nature of working in the arts and the detrimental effect it has on an artist's well-being, to foster artist agency and safeguard freedom of expression, to retain talent in the sector by reducing the need for artists to work outside of the arts for economic reasons, to support and expand the sector thanks to spillover effects, including hiring of collaborators, expenditure of materials and emergence of new projects. Also to support social cohesion and societal well-being by creating more opportunities for citizens to engage in the arts and to offer a larger selection of artworks and performances to enjoy. And also to recognise the contribution of artists to a pluralistic society and their contribution to the vibrancy of communities across the nation. So listen, it's a very significant departure, a really innovative and welcome scheme. I would agree with you in relation to the prioritisation that previous Minister Catherine Martin gave to developing the pilot, and it's something this current government, Minister Donovan and myself as the Minister of State in the Department are very committed to as well. There's a wonderful opportunity there. The objective will be to see how it can be built on. Obviously, it's a really significant departure and step forward, the pilot in the first place, and now the decision this year to put it on a permanent basis. And the fact that we will, from this year onwards, see 2,000 people as a baseline participating in it. Obviously, we will monitor it, see its impact. It's a significant decision by the state in recognition of the importance of the arts and in recognition of the importance that artists play in our national civic life and in our cultural life to take this step. And it's something we will monitor and see how we can continue to build on the recognition and prioritisation we are giving the arts through the initiative, or that is the basic income for the arts scheme.
Thanks.
That's really reassuring to hear that that the commitment is there to continue it, and it's delighted that it has been made a permanent basis. But I suppose Praxis, the Artists Union, they would urge, I suppose, that anyone that's eligible, and it's hard enough, it's not everyone is eligible for it. If anyone that is eligible for it should receive it. Like, we definitely need more art, not less. And I suppose particularly workers, like creative workers, all jobs and all workers are under threat from AI, but they would be particularly vulnerable as well, I think. And we, again, I suppose we see how much we as a society lean in it. So it's really reassuring to hear. And wasn't there research done as well that every euro spent in the basic income for artists, that is at 1.39 is returned to the economy, which is incredible. That's an incredible figure, that the artists are spending their money locally and that they're spending it, I suppose, bringing communities together through it, And so it's great to hear, and I hope that the commitment will continue, and maybe that it would be looking at extending it, that if anyone is eligible for it, that they should get it. And we do need more art, not less. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for raising it today, Senator Cosgrove, and for your advocacy for the arts and for this particular scheme. And I absolutely agree with you. We need to see more art, not less, and we need to, within our society, ensure that there is the space and the support there for artists to be able to follow their creative abilities and to see them developed and to have that potential realised for themselves and indeed for society generally as well. So I think the basic income of the arts is a really significant step forward and departure in that regard. We are paving new ground internationally, and I know when I've attended European Council meetings, there's very significant interest among other member states in relation to what we're doing here, because it is pioneering in relation to what we're trying to achieve. So I think the approach has been taken in relation to developing a pilot. Learning from that, now putting it on a permanent basis is a sensible one, and one that's designed to make the most impact with how we design the scheme. And our collective objective then should be to see how we can build on that and make sure that the arts community and people with artistic ability within our community are supported in a way that enables that talent to be able to flourish and contribute to the wider society.
Thank you. Thank you.